This episode is brought to you by the Communicore Weekly web store, where you can find all of our amazing t-shirts and music. Check it out at CommunicoreWeekly.com, the greatest online store.
Communicore Weekly. Come on and get geeky. We bob around boats and five-legged goats. Communicore Weekly. You might catch some freaking. Waiting all week. I'm sure you already know that it's the greatest online show.
Well, howdy, all Communicore cadets, and welcome to Communicore Weekly, the greatest online show. I'm George.
And I'm Jeff, and I was a little thrown off there. That's a new one.
Yeah, I tried, we'll try to use the greatest online show caught on, so I figured, hey, we'll try Communicore cadets.
Hey,
See
that
if
works.
that catches on.
I mean-
and after that catches on, it'll be George's Emperor.
What
So-
can we after that? Can we try send George and Jeff $5 from your parents' wallet?
Ooh, that's even better.
That'll be a good one.
So it's not so subliminal messaging or messages.
It's very direct. Give us your money messaging.
Okay.
We can't get in trouble for that if we're honest, right?
No, especially if we're honest, we're going to use the money to make trips to Disney World and Walt Disney World and Disneyland. You know?
So it works out pretty well.
And we were honest. We're
Or
not going to lie.
or other theme parks like I did not too long ago.
Yeah, I heard a rumor about this and saw some weird photos.
We should probably talk about it then.
Ooh, let's go on a trip report then.
Let's go on a trip report.
Step, jump, and skip. We took a trip, and this is our trip
So, as one of my last official acts of living New Jersey, I went to Six Flags Great Adventure, which has been my local theme park for years, since I've been born, considering it's 20 minutes down the road for me, so I figured I had to go one more time before I left.
But you've been there before, right?
Many times. I used to have season passes for pretty much every year, and I haven't gone actually in like the last 3 or 4 years now. But Gary from Kingdom Cast and John Hopkins and Tim, formerly of Fanboys, were going. We made a little group trip of it, so we all went and we experienced it together, and it was a mess.
Wait a minute. Okay, was the meetup a mess or the park was a mess?
No, the meetup was fine. It was the park that was. I guess we're so used to. Granted, we complain about how Disney maintains things.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but then when you step foot into Great Adventure, it is I don't even have a word to describe it. It makes you really appreciate the stuff that goes on at Disney, because it was gross. I mean, and it's still early in the season. It was April, the middle of April, and the park's not even really open for the summer yet, and it was just disgusting, and everything was falling apart, and it hasn't been maintained properly in years, so it was kind of upsetting to see the park like that.
Interesting. So you've seen a definite decline.
I mean, as far as I can remember, maybe I'm looking back on with those rose-tinted glasses. I don't remember it being that bad before, but it was pretty horrific. Even like the main logo when you walk in, that's painted on the ground, was chipped and peeling and falling apart, and I didn't understand it. Granted, it's a thrill theme park, and you're going for the awesome roller coasters, because you can't deny that the roller coasters are awesome. But you're not getting the same level of quality theming that you would get at a Disney park. You're not getting the quality overall that you would get at a Disney theme park. It was a mess. It was decrepit, and it was kind of depressing, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you are coming at it from a different eye, probably, than even a few years ago. After working with Rolly to publish the book, it's kind of a huge story. Best book of 2012. Pick a copy up now. And
Awesome plug, by the way.
I tried to get that as quickly as I could before you stopped it. But looking at Disney parks, not from an insider's point of view, but as a critic, with a critical eye now, like we do, it changes pretty much anything and anywhere you go.
We were all saying that too. I mean, I think Gary said he hadn't been there in like 2 years too, and that was before he started doing his podcast, Kingdom Cast. So we were all looking at it in that light, and it was just striking to see how different we see things now. And one of the other things that really struck me was we were just on Kingdom Cast not too long ago talking about corporate sponsorships in the park.
I was going to ask you about that because I saw some of those photos.
That picture that I sent you.
Yeah.
The difference between a Disney corporate sponsorship and a Six Flags corporate sponsorship is striking. They throw it in your face nonstop. Like at the end of every single ride we were on, when you would be able to understand the person as you were getting out of the roller coaster, it would be, make sure you go on this ride, this ride, this ride. Also, upgrade your season pass. Also, use your Discover card to save 5%. Also, buy some M&Ms. Also, do this. And we're like, whoa. And we're not, like, I'm not joking. It was literally after every single ride we went on, no matter what roller coaster, what lame other ride we went on, every single one, I guess they're trained just to say those things. And there's gigantic ads in the queues of these rides for all sorts of crazy stuff, like, I don't know, Tostito knockoffs, or it was really, really bizarre. It didn't really fit in with the rest of the quote-unquote theme.
Yeah. It was pretty odd because it was almost on the side of one of the roller coasters.
Yes.
That was by Kia, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was an IKEA... not IKEA. A Kia... Oh my god, that'd be weird.
I don't want to ride an IKEA roller coaster.
I don't want to ride it, no. How do you put this together? I don't understand the directions.
Then you can ride it.
It was a Kia Soul. It was like a sticker put on the side of all the cars for El Toro, which is based on nothing to do with a Kia Soul. So it was really weird. And then inside the Skull Mountain queue, there was a big ad for the Tostitos thing. Also, waiting in line for Skull Mountain, by the way, they were playing Haunted Mansion music, and when we were walking through the boardwalk area, where all the tacky boardwalk games are, they were playing Yo Ho Yo Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me. So it was really, really weird to have all that stuff.
How much money? I wonder how much they paid for the license to that.
$0.0. That's how much.
It's called a record drop. It's called a needle drop. So one of the things that we talked about that day and later was the fact that our friend Gary from the Kingdom Cast had an accident with a young child on the People Mover and lost both of his legs.
I'm not laughing because of the accident. I'm laughing because that's the story that Gary tells everyone.
Oh yeah, the story.
That's not what really happened. It's just a great story. He didn't
it's a great story.
He didn't go on the People leg remover. Don't worry. No,
but so he doesn't have legs. He has prosthetic legs that he uses. He doesn't care. He'll walk around the parks and with kids say something, he go, "Yeah, I'm half animatronic." He's got a great sense of humor about it. But apparently, they've got some ADA problems at the Six Flags.
Yeah, it's just to backtrack a little bit. He it's below his knee, so he only has partial prosthetics for the bottom half of his legs. So ADA rules, it's a law that it has to be on the sign before you get on every attraction what the rules are for it. So we would look at every single one, and the people running the rides would almost get into a fight with Gary for every single roller coaster we were on, even though he was clearly in the right of the rules. I would say most of the time we wound up getting on the ride. Gary was out on the ride, no problem. There was one ride where we had to get the manager, and Gary was arguing with him, and Gary was like, I don't think you're familiar with the rules. And the manager was like, no, we're familiar with the rules. We try to update our signs. We update them to reflect the new rules every year as much as possible. And we're looking at the sign that he's standing next to that has the rules on it, and it hadn't been touched in like 2-3 years. You can clearly see it by how it looks. So I gotta commend Disney, even though all their rides at Disneyland were shut down not too long ago. I gotta commend them on keeping up with their ADA guidelines and laws.
Well, what was the problem? Because if Gary had been wearing pants, well, let me rephrase that. Gary was wearing shorts.
He was wearing shorts.
Obviously from the knees down. He had prosthetic
legs.
legs.
Even said, buy sweatpants and you won't have a problem. Clearly.
Wait a minute, that's what the manager said?
No, that's what we said to Gary.
Oh,
but then we would get on a ride. We would, he would take the prosthetic off. We'd put it off to the side, and that's when we would have the problem because they would be like, oh, hang on a second, So the problem was that they weren't really sure themselves about what the laws or what the rules were. Gary was in the right, they were in the wrong. They just automatically assumed no, just because of the leg thing. But
Because
thankfully it
that's
worked
a
out in the end.
huge danger having somebody with no legs on a ride.
I can understand, one of the main rules is not having the prosthetics on during the ride for most of them, which I can understand because you don't want them to come off and injure someone. But I don't think they understood what they were talking about half the time. So thankfully it all worked out okay. But yeah, it made me really miss Disney parks.
Yeah,
I had a good time. I had a great time with them. I had a great time on the roller coasters. We went on all the coasters in the park. But yeah,
Do they have anything similar to My Magical Plus Fast Pass bands around your neck type thing?
They have Discover Card where you save 5% inside the theme park.
If
But
you
that was
buy
about it.
M&Ms
If you buy M&Ms.
while
So,
driving your Kia Soul around
yes,
the park.
yes. Excessive advertising.
That's
So,
advertising.
goodbye, Six Flags, great adventure. Probably won't ever see you again, but I will see Magic Mountain, so we'll see how that goes in a couple of months.
He's a nerd, he's a geek, but we all like to hear him speak. So listen up to the words from his speech. It's George's Book of the Week.
I talked about Van Arsdale France's memoir a few weeks ago, Windows on Main Street. It's a great book from the founder of Disney University with some fantastic stories about Disneyland's early years. I was contacted by Doug Lipp about his new book called Disney U, How Disney University Develops the World's Most Engaged, Loyal, and Customer-Centric Employees. And that's another contender for the longest title.
We've had a couple of those lately.
We've had a few of those. So, well, Doug and I started talking about his new book, and I was excited to hear that Doug had worked directly with Van. And the book not only talked about Disney University and the training that cast members go through, but also it provided a look at Van and how he shaped the company and his own life. Now, the book itself, it's a business book. It's geared towards people that are running their own business or have training programs. And the book has 13 lessons that the business owners, nonprofits, or even individuals can learn from and apply to their own businesses, training, and actually themselves. And it's ideal for any corporate training program or for anyone who's trying to start a training program like our Communicore Cadet training program that we want to start.
It's like space camp.
It's like space camp, yeah.
But cooler.
Like with Leia Thompson, though, when we get stuck in outer space.
Okay, I'll take that.
Space camp? Oh, okay, well, I went to young Leia Thompson. Not the one. Well, anyways. Okay, so jumping back, at the end of each lesson or each chapter in the book, Doug offers thoughts on applying Van's 4 circumstances, which are innovate, support, educate, and entertain, which, of course, we at Communicore Weekly provide all 4 of those every week.
Yes, we do.
Because we're awesome. Anyway, and the section afterwards relates directly to the lesson and summarizes and offers questions for thought. I really enjoyed the anecdotes that Doug provided. He shares stories of Van France and Tom Eastman and many others that were essential to Disney University. It's one of the few places that the history of the Disney Training Department is provided. It's also one of the few books that documents the importance of Van France and the Disney Company. And one of my favorite anecdotes dealt with cultural differences. When they were opening Tokyo Disneyland, because Doug was on the opening team for Tokyo Disneyland University, the amazing janitorial staff, they were all hired from other occupations. They'd worked in hospitals, so they knew how to clean. They actually completely cleaned up the mansion before opening because they were told to clean the mansion, and their understanding of clean was different from what Disney wanted the mansion to be cleaned. So Doug recounts how they actually had to fly the artists back the moment they landed in the States to redo the cobwebs and all the dust to get the mansion opened on time. Because, hey, got to have dust in there. So a little background about Doug. He worked for many years at Disney and the Walt Disney Studios. He developed the first international Disney University with Tokyo Disneyland and also led the training team at the Disney Company. And currently, he consults with several Fortune 500 companies and travels the world speaking about Disney and the Disney University. It's a fun book. It's an enjoyable read. I was surprised, the way he puts the anecdotes in there. It never seemed boring or too over the top. And, I think Disney fans will enjoy it just for the stories about Van Arsdale.
Yeah, there
and
was a
Disney
lot of good
University.
little insights in there too. I thought, I don't own a small business or a business of any kind, but I still got a lot out of the book from his anecdotes and the learning how to, run these sort of training programs. So it was really interesting, I thought.
Yeah, it was good. The we'll jump into this long title again so I can repeat at the end. It's called Disney U: How Disney University Develops the World's Most Engaged, Loyal, and Customer-Centric Employees by Doug Lipp with two